refusing to surrender to police, Mike.
Yeah, and Desmond, sorry, just listening to some radio traffic here. They're already talking about post-pursuit tactics, which includes the use of a canine. They've got one in the chase. It was secondary in the pursuit, and it might be that canine unit or that SUV right there might be the canine unit. But they've already talked about if the guy gets out and runs, they will immediately release
this
the
is kind of
canine
intense.
in an attempt to apprehend him. Now,
Already.
this chase has been exclusively by CHP. CHP is the one that started it up on the copper frequency. The San Bernardino office is where we were listening to it originally, and it did kind of start as an attempted traffic stop
Same
here,
exact
where they were
time.
trying to get the guy to just pull over for DUI. He did not pull over, and it turned into a pursuit. 40 King, Desmond, as you mentioned, is the San Bernardino County Sheriff's helicopter. That is overhead. They were already kind of in the area and were able to get on top of this chase pretty quickly. And California Highway Patrol has now handed it off to the Riverside office. So the Riverside units are the ones that are behind it right now. And Des, you mentioned the motorcycle unit that was with it. That is not terribly common for us to see in these pursuits.
I'm going to do an IRL stream here in a couple hours, but we got this for now.
Because of the heavy traffic, that motorcycle unit certainly going to be able to navigate the traffic better than some of those SUVs. Now we see the SUV kind of taking the primary
Shout out to Knox.
So heavy traffic though, Des, and
Gina Snow, what's up?
This part of the afternoon doesn't really get much better, right?
I am going to, I did get the IRL reminder, and I made a event in the server, so I'm prepared this week. Going to be out there probably 2 hours from now because it's super hot here. So I want to kind of get out there when the sun's going down.
And even though this isn't the volume side, there are still a ton of people out.
It's like 100 degrees here right now.
This is usually free flow on the westbound 91.
This is, Panda, what's up? This is La Sierra, El Sierra South.
Start to see this widen up, and we'll see how that suspect decides to take the speeds after that. We had heard some actually slow speeds.
Hey, everybody on YouTube, hit like.
We got in this heavy traffic, and we saw kind of this desperation speeds around 40 or 50 miles an hour, so not even up at the speed limit. But, you saw that despite the low speeds, the suspect not afraid to get over to the right-hand shoulder to try to evade law enforcement, try to put some distance between them and these squad cars. But nothing doing here. CHP, they tend to be one of the more aggressive agencies. Plus, we're talking
99.
About
yeah, I think it's like 99. It was 100 here recently. I don't know if it still is. Hold on, I need another window.
So, looks like they're pretty determined to stick with this, even though
we're going to run this prediction.
The want so far is kind of minor, but then a minor want, but you got someone who is running for police. We know that CHP does not like to give up these pursuits, and they seem pretty determined to stick with this one as we continue rolling westbound 91.
Yeah,
so I'm not sure how this started.
You mentioned that traffic collision. I am looking at the CHP log. That was the westbound 91 east of Pierce, and apparently it was a vehicle that rolled over at about 2:30.
Predictions up.
It is on the right-hand shoulder, as you mentioned, but it is causing some of that build-up there. So we'll
see how what's up?
After that.
Shout out to Beal.
And you mentioned, DUI is the one. I have to say, I mean, we have seen some of the maneuvers here where he's trying to get around traffic as we're starting to pass that crash. You see the fire engine there on the right-hand side. The driver not necessarily driving like he may be under the influence, certainly not like we've seen in the past, although
this is intense.
Of course, as soon as I start to say that, here we are weaving across all lanes of the freeway as things clear up a little bit. But, probably at least since we've been overhead, and even when we were tracking Des, these 50-mile-an-hour speeds are probably the fastest we've seen so far.
Yeah, I mean, now we're even getting, some more wide open conditions, and we're still
let me try and figure out why this is happening.
We'll start to creep up a little bit faster now. This may actually be an E-Class, now that I'm getting a better look at this Mercedes. A little bit of the larger, roomier model. Pretty decent amount of horsepower. I think these are 6-cylinder engines. Decently capable cars, decent handling vehicles as well. We'll see if the suspect decides to use any of that available power to them here as we continue to roll
at 3 p.m.
We'll be coming up to the 15 here
pretty
quickly,
never stops.
And then we'll see if the suspect decides to stick with this or if they get over
Wait,
to
Gina,
the right
you were going to go to LA?
Towards the 15 freeway.
I didn't know
We've
that.
covered quite a few miles and pretty much on
and
the
what's
freeway
up,
the entire
Snarky?
time that we've heard about it. Again, coming out
Good
of
to
the
see
San
you.
Bernardino area.
And Dogs Gaming, what's up?
215, which naturally transitions to the westbound 91 through downtown Riverside.
And, King Ed, yo, Far Falcon, Jimmy, Opa.
Seems to be content now with the open driving to keep it to the left lane, to the far left lanes, actually the carpool lane.
74 in Montana, yo, that's good.
In the back seat
you know,
just kind of
60 is hot.
CHP's not back there, and they're just going to keep driving, it looks like.
Yeah, CHP's certainly ready. Amy Johnson here at the anchor desk with us now. Des, Amy.
Yeah, it doesn't even look like the cops have their lights on.
55 miles an hour, not terribly fast.
No, and for whatever reason, it seems like every time there is a pursuit, the windows are always so
Programmer
dark,
Jeff,
we can't
I'm not
see if
sure.
anyone else is in there, and it is kind of surprising at this hour that there isn't a little more traffic on
now
the
he's
roadway.
going fast
but it
as
does
fuck,
seem like speeds are definitely picking up now, Des.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, speeds are starting to pick up. Look at this. This is by far the fastest
Damn,
that we've seen the suspect going. Now over 100 miles an hour, triple-digit speeds. Very dangerous combination when this was, you know, a suspected DUI driver to begin with. You know, when they say suspected DUI, it could have been the person weaving in and out of lanes.
Suspected DUI,
you know,
there you go.
Maybe they were maybe they were texting on their cell phone or were distracted by something. Whatever it was that got CHP's attention, but they're calling it suspected DUI. And if that is the case, definitely dangerous. But now all of a sudden, kind of slowing back down again.
Okay.
Maybe we're going to have a little bit of traffic building here as we approach the 91. Up to 100 miles an hour, and then right back down to about half that. Back to between 50 and 60. CHP doesn't care. They are still right behind this guy.
Don't care.
And,
DUI at 3 p.m. Beal.
Discussed the fact that you know,
suspected
this
DUI
car
anyway.
Isn't reported stolen or anything.
Danger
so they
Tater,
know
welcome.
Who
How are you?
And you know, makes you wonder.
Yeah,
where is Kenny?
And got
Get his
the
ass
plate.
in
I've
here.
heard them call out the plate. So, you know, there's no front plate, but we know there's a back plate because they've put that out. And yeah, it makes you wonder. A lot of law enforcement
Team
agencies,
Hazard, I don't know if you're here or not, but thanks for subscribing.
If they can feel like they can identify the driver, they'll give it up. As we're getting the window rolled down, and Des has got the back window down a little
I have a
bit
video
too.
that's getting
Something
thousands of
flapping
views
around on
every
the ceiling of the
hour,
car there,
so
but I don't see
I
anybody
get
in
a
the
lot
back
of subs.
view.
I don't know if the person subbing is here or not, but hopefully.
No, don't see anyone there, but yeah, he's got the window down and just kind of going along. Nice Southern California day with the arm there out the window. Yeah,
just
still
chilling.
Just seeing the one person in the vehicle. Here's we're now going over the big flyover lane of the transition here from the 15. So let's just zoom out here until we get beyond that. We should see him coming back out here momentarily. So this big, huge carpool lane connector that they built. And yeah, wow, are we taking
really
off again?
Damn, okay.
Really starting to take off again.
Oh,
yeah.
shit.
So back up way over 100, yeah, over 100 miles an hour, 110. Just
damn, he's
slamming
like
on the
all.
gas pedal all of a sudden. 120. And CHP
Fuck,
actually
this
looked
is
like they might have
crazy.
backed off just a little bit. So this is the second time we've seen them now with just slamming on that gas pedal, using a lot of gas when you do that. So, you know, which could end up bringing this pursuit to an end more
Out of
quickly.
gas?
We've seen that a lot of times in the past where these suspects just go pedal to the metal and they just start guzzling that gas. And if they didn't have a full tank,
Yo, 22,
you know,
what's up? How are you?
Just going to make this pursuit end more quickly. So we'll just have to see if that is the case. But so far, just continue to fly along now as we are well into Corona. We passed the 15, so we are officially on our way to Orange County now, westbound on the 91 through Corona, now onto the right-hand shoulder. Wow.
Yeah, really quick, Amy and Desmond, just listening to some radio traffic, we were talking about if they know who this guy is. They do. They now know that he has a criminal history and apparently a history of violence.
No surprise.
So that could also be why I didn't hear that if he's got any active warrants or wants or anything like that, but they now know who this person is and they know that he has a criminal history and according to the radio traffic here at least, a possible tendency towards violence. So they're going to take that more seriously. They've already got a K9 unit involved in this and they've already made the decision that if this comes to an end and he runs, they're going to release the K9
Gina's like, it should have been me in the
we'll
chase.
See. And Des, it looks like also you have H80.
That's okay, Gina. You can stay home. You'll watch my stream later.
Come in here and probably take over from 40 King, which is the San Bernardino Sheriff's helicopter.
A couple hours from now, I'm going to go downtown.
Yeah, so they'll have a fresh tank of gas. That is definitely good news, and I'm sure that they are getting CHP on the horn in Orange County as well, where they keep their helicopter at Fullerton. I mean, we're on, you know,
that's right. Gina missed her chance to be the good Samaritan.
So definitely a lot of communication happening with various CHP.
She could drive ahead and drop a jar of nails. Yo, Gina knows all about these chases. She could stop it.
Their way,
she could.
Westbound on the 91. Might be heading through a construction zone as we approach the 71. That very well publicized.
Everyone on YouTube, hit the thumbs up.
Of the 71 freeway. Can't remember if all the road work is on the eastbound or the westbound side. So we'll see if
yo,
that,
Dimitri. Yo, shout out to Dimitri. We got a lot of streamers in here.
Traffic is going to cooperate with this suspect.
And Vic,
because,
what's up?
Again, the eastbound side is the volume side, and as we get into Orange County, around the 241, you're going to really start to see that stack up on the eastbound side.
Yeah.
But I'm looking ahead westbound, and it is a driver's dream headed towards Orange County. No issues as far as slowdowns that we see anymore for this driver. So, you know, if they want to get back on that
Yo,
gas
Courtney,
pedal,
how you doing?
they will definitely have the
Welcome.
ability to do that with pretty light traffic conditions headed into the OC.
Well, and I have to say, Desmond, I know that this person.
Oh, Kenny, there he is. What's up?
Suspected DUI, but this person has really been able to.
Thank you for subscribing.
This Mercedes doesn't seem to be having any trouble staying in lanes, and at times, as we've seen, going.
Got a sub. You can get that Jenny emote.
Per hour, which of course
we need Jenny in the chat.
The danger for everyone that is out there on the 91 freeway. You know, we've all been on the freeway at times where you're driving and someone comes speeding up so fast behind you, and you know, all it takes is one person not paying as much attention, changing lanes, and this can really be a dangerous situation for everybody out there. But this person, fortunately, again, going a little bit slower, which is certainly a good thing, but certainly doesn't appear any signs of stopping or pulling over for the CHP officer that's right behind him.
Yeah, I mean, you know, speed.
Regular LA day, it is.
The biggest factor in all of the worst crashes that I've covered over the years of my many years as a traffic reporter. And, you know, the alleged, you know, suspected DUI was the one. But like I was saying, it doesn't necessarily mean that this person is under the influence. CHP probably saw
I think I'm technically off of work in a minute, so
could have been
not streaming on company
or
time.
With the radio or any of those things. Certainly that is what we hope, and that it's not that this person is under the influence and then driving at times up to 120 miles an hour. More tame at the moment here, back to 60, 70 miles an hour. Hopefully they realize that just pounding on the gas pedal and going 120 is not going to magically shake CHP from their tail and have them give up the pursuit. They definitely seem determined to keep up with this one. We've even seen CHP going along the right-hand shoulder when they had to in that heavy traffic to make sure that they stay right behind. So very close behind on the ground and in the air with what we believe is a fresh tank of gas from a different helicopter. A couple more CHP units getting involved. They may be coming in here to either relieve the units, or we wouldn't be surprised if we see them run kind of the extended traffic break where they get back there and then they try to slow down all the traffic to prevent anyone else from potentially getting caught up in this, because these situations are so predictable. And
they're just going past them now.
They want to keep the public as safe
That's
as possible.
A bike cop, yeah, it is.
Seeing, this unit come up really close, maybe trying to get a better look, maybe a little reconnaissance there as they try to get a better look. So we'll see if that unit that just got on the westbound 91, if they're going to be the new units in pursuit, or if they're just going to, like I said, kind of fall into the back and provide a little bit of cover and run some traffic breaks. But we are almost in Orange County now as we continue westbound on the 91.
Wow, it is amazing to see how wide.
Yeah, 5 cops for the bingo, but I only saw 4. Assuming that is a cop on that motorcycle.
More cruisers getting involved in this, and just wondering what their next move will be. Typically, we do not see any type of pit maneuver.
Be sure to hit the like. Thanks, Sean.
This, although we have
Sean covering both.
Seen some pit maneuvers
during
sides. A slower pursuit on the freeway, and certainly no chance of doing a spike strip.
I got to see if there's any other news stations on this.
Right now, it looks like they're just trying to keep up.
Yeah, and you know, Amy, early on in this, he was going much slower. I mean, we're talking like maybe 20 miles an hour slower. And at that point, they did request to do a pit maneuver on the freeway, and they were given permission.
It's the same helicopter, probably.
Warranted, unfortunately, because I think the only reason he was going so slow is because traffic was so heavy.
But yeah, I think it is. It's on Fox as well, but I think it's the same helicopter, which isn't very good for us.
Really, law enforcement has no way of knowing if somebody's DUI until they get them out of the car and actually can have, you know, a visual on them. But as Desmond mentioned,
nothing yet.
You know, the possible DUI probable cause to pull them over could be swerving, could be weaving, could be anything like that. And especially, you know, with these dark tinted windows, you can't always see what the driver is doing. And Amy, just really quick, we're talking about traffic here. He is wide open, really until he gets to the 90 freeway.
Have you missed a lot? No, Leader, you haven't.
Kind of area. Then he'll be on the brakes.
It's just been exactly like this for the last 13 minutes, just driving with the CHP right behind him. Sometimes he's going 50, sometimes he's going 120. It just kind of goes that way
on the 91. If that's where he stays, if he doesn't come north or even go south on the 55.
Yeah, and we're watching. You've got those cruisers all lined up.
Damn, look at that.
And we're seeing another one fly up there on the side. Again, you know, you just wonder if this is to try to stop traffic, slow other cars down, or get them away. Because, you know, ironically, you have all these drivers out here. You've got all these cruisers, yet many of them don't seem to be slowing down. Now, that was a bit of an aggressive move.
He took out all those little plastic.
He could have just waited like 2 more seconds.
It makes you wonder. He seems to be
going
in a very aggressive speed, wondering what this might actually mean.
Like, seriously, he was so close to being around those things, but he just was like, fuck it.
Like we were talking earlier, perhaps, you know, in the 3 o'clock hour, there was someone taking over from another officer back there. So, again, they're just trying to stay close.
I mean, the cop hit a stationary object. I don't know if that counts on the big go-kart. Usually talking about the suspect, but the cop just hit a stationary object.
Instead of the Inland Empire frequencies.
Not sure if you asked me a question or not. I'm just having kind of some communication issues up here. Let me just toss it back to you, Mike and Amy, and once I get this rectified, we will.
All right, Snarky. Well, you can clean
here, but let me just toss it back to you guys.
after this.
Absolutely, no worries. I was just letting everybody know that.
Then you come back because I'm going to go out and do IRL tonight.
Swapping out.
So come back for that after you clean. Or don't clean at all. I don't care. Just use it as your excuse that I'm streaming.
We went over to Riverside. Now we're coming into the San
That cop is drunk, seriously.
Purple frequency that we're listening to it here on CHP. And, you know, that's the thing, Amy. When CHP is chasing, they can chase you all the way, you know, till the cows come home, really. I mean, they can chase you to any state line, you know, within the state. And I don't know if that a lot of people realize that when they're being chased by the CHP. The CHP has kind of essentially unlimited resources here to be able to swap out.
Yeah, Gina, I suspect that there's not actually they're not actually intoxicated.
That can be chasing this guy for, you know, 2 hours, but in CHP, this is probably,
you know, like you were saying, you know, he could have been like swerving, looking at his phone, and they decided that it might have been a DUI, so they tried to pull him over. You know, it could have been like any type of erratic driving that caused them to think it was
an inland helicopter that just came in and relieved the San Bernardino Sheriff's helicopter.
There's something going on with this cop.
You've got fresh sets of eyes here to be able to really stick with this. And as I say that, the now Orange County CHP helicopter is coming.
4 cops in the frame. Were there?
Helicopter. So when you get chased by a statewide agency,
we saw 4 earlier, but I haven't seen 5.
You can do this all day long, literally all day long.
Exactly, and we know with different agencies, different areas, each department has their own protocol and what they will do in a pursuit. But with the CHP, it's a different story. They are all working under the same
emotional
guise
support.
And keeping this person.
We need to test that cop for DUI.
At hand. And it's interesting to see all of these other cars going right by. You know, most people.
Nathan, they probably could, but that's a dangerous move.
Folks are just cruising along as if
new prediction. Yeah, good call.
And perhaps some of them don't even know that this is actually a pursuit. You don't see the lights and sirens. You just see all of the black and whites there, and you might just be thinking they're heading somewhere, but. Definitely not the case. This silver Mercedes that you're seeing here in the center of our screen was
new prediction.
Attempting to pull
Will this chase last for 30
minutes?
minutes?
Suspected DUI driver, someone driving under the influence. But while we have been up above over this silver Mercedes, the driver has been, you know, driving pretty steady here, going high speeds at times up to 120, but not really seeing a lot of reckless driving, Mike.
Well, right, and you know the reason for that was kind of weird, right? I mean, they didn't try to spike, they didn't try a pit, they didn't really try anything that would have caused him to kind of panic and accelerate the way he did, but he did. And you know, to your point, Amy, with other drivers not really knowing what's going on, especially when we're going less than freeway speeds, which we are right now, you may not see this car whiz past you and immediately realize that it's a chase, because he's going slower than you are. You know, and when it's daytime, you don't see the light from the helicopter. The police lights are a little bit harder to see.
What happened to this window?
Yeah, I mean, you know, who knows? And luckily, he's not driving as crazy as he was and not endangering the public in a more serious way. He obviously still is, because he's refusing to pull over, and as we've seen, is a bit desperate in the times that he does go those really
True, he's just running
speeds.
From the cops, so he'll stop when he sobers up.
All right, looks like we may still be having
your channel
issues getting with Desmond there, but I just wanted to see, we are still on the 91 westbound, approaching Imperial Highway in the Anaheim Hills.
Left front tire looks flat.
Continues to chase this car.
Does it?
We've now swapped over to the Orange County area, where Orange County CHP officers from the Santa Ana office are involved in this. They've also swapped out the helicopter again. This is now the third helicopter.
Third helicopter.
Over this. The CHP's Orange County helicopter out of Fullerton, as Desmond was mentioning, is now taking this over as well, Amy.
And also with us now, joining us, Juan Fernandez, as we are all keeping a very close eye on this pursuit of the suspected DUI driver, the silver Mercedes on the 91, now in Orange County. We've got tinted windows in this Mercedes. Can't really see if there is anyone else in the vehicle, but so far, just that one driver.
All these cars just driving past them.
Pursuit unfolding over the last few minutes that you both have been on the air. And look how steady the driver is, staying within those two lines of traffic there. CHP approaching just a little bit. There's that U-Haul truck on the side there. As you were saying, Amy, possibly these people have no idea that a pursuit is going on. Do we see lights and sirens, Mike, as well?
Yeah, they are. This is full-blown pursuit. CHP has not gone into any kind of tracking mode or anything like that. This is a full-blown pursuit. CHP generally doesn't do tracking mode. They're generally with it the entire time. Right. They're not really a situation where they do that. And I do want to let everybody know this is a playback from just a few moments
here comes
ago.
Another one.
We're having Desmond Shaw switch mountaintops because we come through those mountains there through the Chino Hills area.
Is he just going to blast through these things too?
Better get eyes on the situation.
Oh, he's speeding
here.
up.
I think he should be coming back up live here in a second, and we do see.
The tire looks flat. That guy did it too.
The car. And actually, if we've got Desmond's live
right before, it was like a replay, dude. Is that the same thing?
To a stop here. Or very close.
Wait, what is happening
here now? Told this is back live pictures now.
Oh, we were watching a replay.
8 or 9 miles an hour, and again, very strange.
We were watching a replay.
The way that we're just kind of stopping. I mean, traffic is.
Yo, I'm tripping out. What the fuck?
Enough to where there's obviously cars in front of them. Or maybe there is actually. We see that truck on the other side slowing pretty significantly. Maybe some construction workers or something like that.
Why they do a replay?
Yes, I am here as we are.
Without even like showing us, you know, they usually do like picture-in-picture. They didn't do that. They just took over the whole screen.
Might be taking the opportunity, opportunity in this
Whoa, they got him.
to do a pit maneuver on the freeway. An extremely,
shit.
Extremely rare maneuver there, but he got out of it. Boy,
he's going to speed up now.
They tried to come in and pin him in, and that didn't work, and now the suspect is really, really agitated.
Okay, I guess it was worth a try, but oof.
This is that traffic that Mike was talking
about. He was going a little too slow, actually. He was going too slow.
Going through there typically trips up traffic here in the afternoon. It is so rare to see that, and if this guy didn't know that CHP means business, he definitely knows it now, but he got out of that really, really quickly, unfortunately. You saw that other unit try to come in and pin
he was going too slow for it to work.
But,
like they spinned him around, but it didn't stall the car.
It looked like a textbook case of that pit maneuver, Desmond. I mean, it looked perfect.
I guess it was textbook, but really the idea is that you spin them and cause the car to stall.
As he's weaving back into that traffic.
Okay.
And certainly the most aggressive driving we've been seeing so far.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
So what's
over some of those little plastic dividers there to keep people out of the express lanes, just ran right over them, and so did CHP as well. And now we're up to just
he saw the predictions here. Like, look, he was going like 20 miles an hour,
once we get past
and they just weren't able to really spin him and cause the car to
and Fullerton areas maybe going to be pretty wide open until we approach
stall
the 5.
like that.
But now up over 100 miles an hour. So all of a sudden getting pretty scary there.
Yep.
That might only be the 7th time that I can remember.
The 7th time?
To do a pit maneuver on the freeway, and it was just so perfect.
Okay, NBC's on it.
A heavy sedan and kind of nimble as well.
They're super far away though.
Spin the car right around, slam on the gas pedal, get out of it.
I think it's Eliana, but she's far as fuck.
Right there. Maybe kind of stressful on this vehicle getting spun around like that.
It's like she can't go any further.
We continue. Absolutely no sign of giving up here.
Yeah.
Why?
This, alleged DUI driver.
Anyway, you don't want to see that. But
pretty scary now all of a sudden.
Is there like a no-fly zone around here?
Not stun the driver whatsoever. And we just showed a replay of it just a moment ago, and we're going to do it again for our audience in case you missed it.
Don't show a replay.
Rare that we see a pit maneuver on the freeway, and it happens so quickly. Here it is once again.
And really quick one, I just want to point something out. Watch when they spin the car.
All right, I'm
You've
switching.
Got the second officer who was so
don't
close
like it.
to being
Don't
able
like
to pit
that.
Because that's what you want when you do those pit maneuvers. That secondary officer needs to come in and put their bumper right in front of the suspect, and he was so close to being able to do that.
No audio. Oh, fuck, there's no audio. All right. Shit, I guess we're going back. Or we'll just listen to the other one.
Didn't stall, turned around, and he almost fishtailed as he regained his composure, and he kept going. And now this is when we're seeing higher speeds, a little bit more daring driving here on the freeway, and a lot more traffic. And there it is, the CHP, as you said, Mike, not giving up whatsoever.
Off the freeway.
Damn it, they're ahead on the other one. Fuck, we got to go back.
Well, actually, let's see here. I thought it was going to be an off-ramp, but so we're over by Kramer, Glassell, getting into Anaheim, maybe actually just on the right-hand shoulder to try to avoid another little pocket of traffic here as we shuffle through the 57 freeway. So getting pretty close to Cal State Fullerton intersection of the 91 and the
CBS has audio. That's what we're watching.
So much debris, so much junk that could give you.
You mean ABC? Is ABC on it?
Really mess up your car and just really rolling the dice.
They are. Okay, they are.
Look, CHP says
or NBC, I mean. But they have audio, but they're too far away, man.
Sometimes we see that. Other times we don't. Not every
is
agency
ABC on
will
it?
drive on the right-hand shoulder to stick with these suspects, especially if it's for something.
They are not.
As far as the violations go, like a DUI driver.
NBC is on it and has audio, but they aren't really over it. I don't know what's going on there, but they don't have a good view.
There had been some talk of
yeah, KCal, that's what we're watching.
It's going to be pretty difficult now with a suspect who's on the left side of the freeway, then on the right side, and all over the place. So, maybe
hey, Chi-Chi, what's up?
An opportunity for another pit maneuver in this heavier traffic, but after what happened last time, not sure that CHP is interested in doing that again. It was so perfect, and you even had that unit who reacted, frankly, perfectly to come in, but the suspect was just half a second ahead of the game, spun the car around, and here we continue westbound on the 91.
Yeah, it wasn't even phased at all. And when you normally think of somebody being impaired behind the wheel, somebody who's doing some sort of drunk driving or impaired driving, he's not doing this type of driving, right? This is pretty precision driving, high speeds, changing lanes.
Precision
so far,
driving.
That we know of, right, Mike? He hasn't hit any other
Damn
car.
it.
No.
Here's that pit maneuver again.
Yeah, there's the pit again. And just really quick, Des had mentioned that he thought he saw something fall off the car. I went back and played that video back.
Yeah, that's probably good.
And it actually looks like they threw something, or he threw something out of the passenger side window.
Really?
I'm going to try to cut that video for you so I can show it to you. But it does look like he threw something out of the right side, the passenger side of the car. It's kind of hard to make out what it is. It looks like it's a black, potentially a little bit of silver object there, though, that he tossed out. And remember, we had heard earlier on the radio that the CHP knows who this guy is, or at least who the registered owner is of the car. And the registered owner does, that was close, does have a criminal history and does have a tendency to be possibly violent, according to at least whatever CHP has on their record. So that's something they're contending with as well.
And this person contending with more traffic, as we see. And this driver, he's really, being more aggressive, going on the shoulder, using the shoulder on both sides of the 91 here, over on the slow lane and over on the fast lane, doing really anything it takes to avoid
Man, really hit
this
traffic now.
But things are really
that's
coming
kinda
to
bad.
a stop here, and it makes you wonder if they're going to be able to get him within all of this traffic.
They're really staying bumper to bumper there with him, right, Mike? Look at that.
Yeah, I mean, they've not given up the entire time. Des and I, back in the Riverside area, saw a motor unit that was with them as well, but that motor unit kind of gave away. But the motor unit was good because when he gets in this heavy traffic, it's easier for the motor unit to stick with him than it was the SUVs. Of course, the motor unit,
driving violent,
it's also
right?
more dangerous for them to do that kind of thing. But yeah,
OG, hey, how are you?
Again,
Mr. Wiggly, yo.
Just, and I don't want to say just, but just being potential DUI, they're chasing this guy hard, and he's running hard.
He sure is, being very aggressive
He's
out there
running
on
hard.
the roadways, and fortunately not going as fast as he was. But as I say that, it looks like the speeds are picking back up.
He's on the shoulder.
He's got the shoulder to use, and going up around 70 miles an hour, and it's just so dangerous, as so many of these other cars have no idea that he's coming up, racing up behind them. And anyone just making a quick lane change could cause an accident.
And Mike,
we're almost at the 30-minute mark.
Now we're in Anaheim, right?
Yeah, now we're in Anaheim. This started in almost
81,000 points on Yes. There's probably several people, but
southbound on the 215.
Yeah, there's many people with well over 100,000 points.
We're headed out there for a different story, and then we started coming down. And so, yeah, we've made significant distance. And as I was saying earlier, we've gone through, like 3-4 different CHP offices now, which is always the bad news for the criminals when they're running. A CHP can chase you through the entire state.
Wow.
It started in San Bernardino. Obviously, he took the 91 for a while, which basically got him into the Anaheim area that we're seeing right now, right?
Yeah, now we're at the 91. Yeah.
Still on the 91.
Any second now, they're going to
really,
show another replay.
Just almost like a little cat and mouse game as he's going.
Really
from,
wish
side
that
to side
Eliana
here
would get
on
this
the
shit
91
together.
freeway,
Oh, they
doing,
did. They caught up. Okay, they caught up.
Aggressive lane changes going back.
I
and
still
forth,
like this video a bit
which,
better.
Of course, increases the danger
We'll
for
see what
everyone
happens.
else out there. But the CHP
If they show
seems to be
showing
backing
replays,
off
I might
just a
switch.
little bit.
Is it her?
Hoping, I'm guessing, to get this driver to stop being so aggressive.
Yeah, it's
often
Eliana.
works, but we've seen this driver,
I just
for
don't like the
whatever
view of
reason,
that one
just
right now.
speed up and go 120 miles per hour at what seems like nothing, just all of a sudden hit the gas. So very unpredictable, this driver. And despite the heavier traffic, it looks like he is sticking to
Short
the freeways.
round, what's up?
He is sticking to those center lanes, as you see there, right by the center divider. And right now going 52 miles an hour, not too fast. But again, it seems right now, even with the heavier traffic, he has no problem keeping quite a distance from the CHP that's behind him.
Tetris, yeah, Jamie.
Again, a driver wanted for
okay, we hit 30
DUI,
minutes.
A pursuit that started in the San Bernardino area. We are
almost
now in
everyone
the
said
Santa
yes.
Ana Garden Grove area. This driver covering quite a bit of ground, leaving the CHP basically behind him in chase. What we do know is the CHP knows who the registered owner of this car is. Whether that is the driver, we do not know, but they know that the owner has a criminal history.
Crest 2P voted with 70K on this one.
That is a big concern for them.
Oh, that's a big
bet. There hasn't been any talk about a weapon.
Okay, let's go for 45.
A little while ago that he saw something being thrown out of the car, right?
Yeah, and I don't definitively know that it was a weapon. I'll tell you when you look at it, and I've got the tape right here on the right side of your screen.
Oh, yeah, he threw something out.
You saw it thrown out right there. I'll slow the video down for you.
I don't know, it could have been a phone.
And you see it kind of bounces there on the asphalt. Now,
almost jumps.
Kind of looked like a
little
phone.
bit, yeah, and interesting that he tossed it out the driver's side and not the passenger side. Whatever that was, comes out of the window there and kind of bounces along the freeway. I don't know that CHP.
What's the car make and model?
Saw
I'm not
that.
sure.
I don't know if they went
it's
back
like a
and
Mercedes
tried to
or something.
retrieve whatever that was. But this was right on the 91 express lanes in the Anaheim area where that was appeared to have been thrown out the side of the window.
For some reason, Eliana's like behind the car.
That item that was tossed.
You know, I didn't initially hear it. It was hard because I didn't see where I wasn't watching that live. It wasn't until Des kind of pointed out that something may have fallen off the car that I went back to look. Des, do you know? Did you hear any radio traffic to see if they went to try to recover that?
I did not hear that, but now my pilot mic up here is telling me that we're hearing from law enforcement that the wife may have called this in, or something to do with the suspect's wife.
Yeah, it's an E-class,
so
right? Thing man, what's up?
I'll try to clarify those details once I get a chance, but it sounds like the situation has
Thank you for following.
With the suspect's wife is kind of some of the chatter that we're hearing right now. So that might be kind of interesting if she was the one who called in suspecting, you know, that her husband or significant other was.
Don't tell on her for real.
Maybe gave them the license plate or
exposed.
like that, and then they ran it, and then they saw the criminal history attached to it. So that may, you know, shed a little.
This cop
bit
is
of light
coming
to
right up on him
that
now.
Situation as we just continue to be on the 91. I mean, we basically.
Are they going to try to pit him again?
Asphalt the entire time. Although, are we making the transition now to the southbound 5? I believe no. This is. Well,
I'm not super confident this is going to last another 15 minutes. There's 4 cops.
With all of the flyover lanes, and we'll see here as the suspect was trying to make a last-second maneuver.
It looks like it could be the
domestic, maybe.
Westbound. I think we.
I don't know,
are
Courtney.
Gonna be
northbound 5.
Just give us 1 second here. We continuing on to. Yeah, I guess we're going to the northbound 5.
Yeah,
now.
the cop
so,
is flying too.
That is not going to be good as far as traffic goes for this suspect.
This guy doesn't seem to be trying very hard to like avoid traffic. He's just going straight.
Thursday,
you know? Pittsburgh girl, what's up?
If not the busiest days of the week on any
that guy got to get the fuck out of the way.
And the 5 is this section of the 5 between the 91 and the Eastdale interchange, one of the busiest in the world. The southbound side is more the volume side, but you know, it's really kind of a crapshoot at any time on the 5 as we approach the 605. They did that big widening project here and added 2 new lanes, and a lot of the traffic that we see on this section on the
high precision,
border. But we'll see as we get up to the 605 if we're going to start to see some more heavy traffic. And the shoulders are a little bit more narrow there. Could definitely present some danger to the suspect and the public if we continue that far. But let me talk to my pilot, Mike, again, see if we can clarify that situation involving the suspect.
Well, and that would make a ton more sense as to why CHP is chasing it as hard as they are. If they've got information from his significant other, wife, whoever called this in, they may have a lot more details than anything that we're privy to. Which could explain why they're continuously chasing it. Because even for CHP will chase anything, but even for CHP, this is a fairly aggressive chase for something like DUI, especially now that we've gone.
Yeah, they know
2
something
counties,
that we
San
don't
Bernardino,
know.
Riverside now, or 3 counties rather.
Yeah,
now we're into Orange County. Yeah,
exactly. And so often law enforcement will back off of a chase if they know who they're after. They can go to that person's
The wife
home.
is a good, I guess so.
They can find them at a later time. But in this situation, since this person is known
How are
to
you
them,
doing,
has
by
a
the way?
criminal history and has been known to be violent, and perhaps even under the influence, you know, I think once that gets out there that he could be under the influence, they really can't back off. They need to stop this driver so that no accident happens, especially with someone behind the wheel who has been taking any kind of alcohol or drugs or anything that would
chase
alter their being behind the wheel.
And heading now northbound on the 5, Mike, it says that we're close to Knott Avenue, so have we passed
Jason,
Disneyland
what's up?
already at this point?
Well, yeah, we never actually, so Disneyland would have been to our south.
He's violent,
We
and
made
they're
that
telling
turn
on
up
his
to north
wife,
for
yeah.
5. Disneyland was the south, which
So he's going northbound.
yeah, which
Continue.
logistically speaking is great news for us because Disneyland is incredibly difficult to fly past. So we are now going to be entering our 4th county here in just a second. As he crosses into LA County, we're going to be entering the kind of the Cerritos, Norwalk area after we've passed Buena Park.
I'd like to switch to Eliana, but
already in the LA County area.
this
So
one
now we're up to
remains a
4
better
counties,
view.
that this guy has traversed through this afternoon.
Well, and I'm still amazed
Putting the
that
window up
the
now.
roadway, the stretch of freeway was so wide open at this time of day. I mean, it's almost 3:30 on a Thursday, a very busy day, Thursday. A lot of people starting their holiday weekends early. And
Cerritos,
gosh, it got lots of wide open roadway there.
Yeah, and we didn't even mention holiday
Eliana's
traffic,
audio
which
in
you're
this video.
saying
We
is-
could, but
as traffic is heavy
it won't be
today,
synced
there may
up,
be
you
some
know?
people leaving for their
We could do that, though.
holidays on
But they got
Thursday.
someone else right now
Wide
talking,
open road
I believe.
here.
We had, and the information that you're providing right now live on air on our streaming platforms, this is critical for public safety because it sounds
Wait, this
like
isn't
ground
Eliana.
units have actually been called off by CHP.
Is it?
C1 still telling this possible DUI
No, this is a
driver. We
different
see
woman.
2 units actually, 2 black and white units right behind it. But you can see they've turned their lights off. So unclear why they decided to officially call off ground
It's
units.
that other woman,
but,
whatever her
this
name is.
pursuit is no more as this
called it
possible
off?
DUI driver continues in this suspected stolen Mercedes northbound on the 5.
Tim, what's up? Yeah, it's still going, but I think they might have called it off. The cops are gone?
Again, we want to remind you that this is a possible DUI
The cops are
driver
gone.
traveling on the northbound 5 freeway.
There's no
in
cop
the
behind him
OC
anymore.
area. Take your precautions. I mean, fortunately, we're not seeing him drive, you know, moving in
Are
and
they
out.
talking about that on this station?
And kind of initiated this whole thing, but the helicopters up here are now both saying that that they backed off on the ground. They're going to follow it from the air for a little bit, kind of see
Tracking
what
mode.
happens. But if I didn't hear them officially say that they're canceling the pursuit, but they said that they're backing off on the ground, that they know who this guy is, they know where he lives, and maybe they just feel like it might be better to try to get him at a later time, you know, especially as we're getting into really heavy rush hour traffic. We've already seen how this suspect
It's because the
has
traffic is
behaved
heavy.
whenever they're in traffic, driving on the right-hand shoulder, and just kind of a dangerous situation.
Wait, is he on the phone?
So,
Something in his
as
hand.
we get a pretty good look at the suspect now. Yeah, something in his hand. Not sure if that's
Doesn't look like
if
a
it's
phone.
if they're texting, or if it's a drink. If he's
It kind of looks like
he's
a
drinking
drink.
Like a
something,
can, yeah.
but got
Yeah.
the window down, and so something in his
He's
hand.
so
and,
chill.
He's
you know,
looking at it.
not completely focused, but you know, and
Threw something out.
Okay, yeah, and our map tracker finally switched to north for whatever reason. It was saying south, but we are headed north here, up towards the 605 freeway, northbound on the 5.
So Desmond, have you already noticed
something
those
else out.
ground units pulling back? At least we don't see them from your shot right now.
Yeah, I'll just go ahead and wide way out.
There's a
They
cop.
Still got this unit right here, so
Yeah.
you know that's what they told us, but they do still have a couple actually.
Yeah, there's
trailing,
2 of
so
them. All right.
I don't know. Maybe they're modifying.
They did not
their
stop.
tactic on this one, but maybe it was those initial units
Chase
that
not
backed
over.
out. I mean, we are dealing with different. You know,
Yeah, his
a
wife
different
called it in.
jurisdiction Now,
She
or
said he was
different offers
drunk.
from the CHP. I should say, but that's what we just heard up here, and yet. Despite that, there are still a couple of units back there, and they do still have their helicopter here as well. So we'll just have to see how this shakes out here as we get deeper into LA County.
And he just rolled up his window, so now it's even more difficult to see what's going on inside that car.
Gummy, what's up?
Yeah.
What's up,
yep,
GP?
Windows up, and well, now we're hearing them say that they are going to stick on this. So I guess it's a fluid situation. Lots of calculations. I guess just ignore the last 2 minutes of what I was talking about, but what we heard, and now they are suddenly re-engaged, and I think that canine unit is still here too. I believe I heard that they're back
Ziggy
there
says
as well.
that he's eating a white powder donut.
Yeah,
Maybe.
It does seem, though, that
he's a wholesome
these
family
cruisers
man.
are giving this driver a little more space.
Yeah.
Probably in an
The silver
effort
thing
to
might have been a beer can. It
hopefully
might
keep
have
him
been.
from speeding up again and hitting those high speeds that we saw a little earlier, where he actually hit 120. So certainly him going only about 60 miles an hour is certainly better, but there's too much traffic on the roadways now, going too fast to attempt another pit maneuver. Certainly can't put spike strips out there, so it'll be interesting to see if they are trying to come up with another way. But we did at least see one attempt, for folks that are just joining us, we did see one attempt at pit maneuver, and it really did look like a textbook pit maneuver, but just
GP, apparently the guy's drunk. His wife called and told the
behind,
police that he's
and
drunk,
this driver
apparently.
was able to pull right out of that, turn around, and picked up the speeds and got away, got through a lot of thick traffic, and now things were looking a little more open, but now it looks like we're seeing a little more traffic now.
A little more traffic. He's going a little slower as
Drunk
well.
Andy,
as
yeah.
he's mentioned, he's already hit 4
Supposedly.
different counties in this pursuit, from San Bernardino to Riverside, Orange County.
She ratted
now
him out.
In the LA County area there. It looks like he's on the 5 northbound, right near in the Whittier area. And again, made a quick lane change there. I'm guessing he may be seeing some heavier traffic in front of him. But for the most part, he's sticking to either that center lane or riding along the shoulder when he tries to get away from heavier traffic.
Yeah, and it's interesting. We look at the stance of the CHP cruisers that are behind him, and I have to just point out that as soon as we got into LA County, that is when the distance started getting created by the patrol units. That's when they wanted to give this guy more space, which just kind of shows you the difference between the way the other counties handle chases versus the way they get handled in LA County. I mean, we went through San Bernardino, Riverside, and Orange County, and
either way,
all
it's
three of
the
those counties,
California
those patrol
Highway
cars were
Patrol.
right there, trying to pit maneuver.
Very aggressive,
and we get into LA County, and that supervisor wants more space, wants to give people some more room here, and we'll see. I mean, this is a chase that is definitely within pit speeds right now. Obviously not ideal because of the traffic that's around it.
Kinda. I think he's going way too slow.
The pit maneuver before. We'll see
Way
if they do
too
it now.
slow.
We're going so slow, but again, it's difficult when you've got all those other cars around for sure.
So even though it's the same agency, Mike, it's up to that commander to say, go full force or give him more
JT,
space.
do you miss anything crazy?
Just for some reference here.
He started
the
driving
CHP
real
is broken
fast for a
into
second. They
offices.
tried a pit
Obviously, each
maneuver
county has
on the
multiple
highway. It
offices, but
failed.
We've gone through the San Bernardino office, the Riverside office, the Santa Ana office. I don't think we ever went anywhere else in Orange County.
Creative
Now
way to
we're
ask
into
for
the
a
Santa Fe
divorce.
Springs
Yeah, I
office.
guess so.
Each of those offices has their own sergeant that will make their own call on how they want to handle this pursuit, if they want to get involved at all. We have seen situations where a CHP office in Orange County is chasing somebody, and an LA County
Ziggy said, "I can
office
see drunk
doesn't
driving,
want,
can
even
see
though it's
running
still
from the police,
CHP.
but
So
cannot
the next one we're
excuse the
gonna come into
littering."
here actually pretty soon is going to be the East LA office.
What's up,
of
Roy
the
Story?
CHP, and I already hear them talking about that on the yellow frequency. And now we're driving on the shoulder here, and we know that makes law enforcement nervous, especially at these high speeds. We'll have to see if those units are how close they're tailing him, or if they've gone on the shoulder as well, or if they're kind of giving him some space here.
And window is back down again. We can see him once again here. Looks like both hands are on the steering wheel, but you really can't tell. I don't know. 70 miles an hour right there on the shoulder.
I don't know. Now it looks like he's kind of focused.
Yep, 75.
It seems like he's
He's
looking out
flying.
of the window a little bit.
Really,
You wonder
He's
what
gonna crash.
looking
He
for
might
out there.
crash.
But I guess it's just his way of maybe being able to see
I don't know. He's
traffic to
driving
do more of
precisely,
those,
precision
lane
driving.
maneuvers as he's been doing, but really certainly more aggressive at this point.
Yeah.
Trying to
I wish we had a
dart through
good
all of this
backup, but the
traffic. And
NBC
these folks
one,
are, I'm sure a lot of them are unsuspecting.
not
They
it.
don't know that this,
I don't
silver
know why they're in
Mercedes is
such a bad
being chased
position.
by police, and it looks like he's getting quite a bit of a room between.
Looked
the
like he was
silver
on his phone.
car
I didn't
and
think
those
so.
Cruisers that are behind.
And Desmond, you were about to say something. What was that?
Well, it's just they've backed off, and
Yeah.
the idea of backing off is to try to get the suspect to chill out, and it's not really working now. I mean, on the right-hand shoulder.
Why are we
and
hearing
still
someone
zigging and
else
zagging
talk?
all over the place, cutting
That's
people
this
off like
stream,
this.
right?
So-
No, it's a different stream. Where am I hearing that?
Again, they're choosing to go on the shoulder just to evade authorities. And now it looks like we're in the center lane, moving over to the number 1 lane, doing anything
Where is that
they
coming
can
from?
to stay out of handcuffs. We've covered these time and time again, and these can go on for hours.
Where the fuck is that coming from?
Just given the how much gas they have, that's another issue. We've seen them run out of gas, again, picking up those speeds to the 70+ mile/hour range. Northbound 5, Downey, Norwalk.
Okay, it's over here. Okay, okay. It's the Fox one. Okay.
And, you know, you want them to balance public safety both by, you know, trying to apprehend someone, but also by not endangering everyone. And it's just
Ghost
a really,
voice,
really
yeah,
tough
I had it in a
act.
different
So
window.
it just, you know, makes you wonder if they plan on re-engaging, if the suspect's just going to continue to drive like this anyway, as we're now past
So we do have that backup, at least, but
through the interchange
I don't know, man. I'm not sure that it's a different
into
stream.
the Commerce area. So next will be the East LA interchange, and that's when things are really going to get interesting if they're going to continue with this, because if you hit the 101 or the 5 or the 10 Santa Monica
Kind of looks
freeway,
like the same one.
suspect is going to
But
be
they have
in
audio
some
now.
very, very thick traffic pretty much anywhere they head into, as we're now getting to the busiest time of day on one of the busiest days of the week.
Well, Desmond has been very lucky so far, and we want to show our viewers.
If this chase go for another hour, are you going to stream? I don't know,
the last
man.
30 minutes or so.
Yeah,
Incredible.
we'll just
Here
have to
it
do
is.
it
We've
later,
slowed it
I
down
guess.
for you. The CHP basically doing a great pit maneuver. The car staying within lanes.
Okay, we
but
hit
that
45.
second
We did.
Cruiser
Okay.
didn't make it in fast enough to box him in within those 3 cars. The driver quickly escaped the pit maneuver there, even fishtailing just a little bit, got into the shoulder there of the freeway, and then just continued going at pretty much a
new
high
prediction.
rate of speed. And that's when
CM, what's up?
The tone of this chase changed. We saw more aggressive driving.
streaming,
we saw
you get the
faster
partner.
driving.
That's not gonna happen.
We saw the CHP pulling away from the
45
pursuit
minutes,
and
yeah,
then
Crack, what's
re-engaging.
up?
So a lot has been changing over the last few moments of us covering this pursuit of a man wanted for possible DUI, a call that came into law enforcement from that person's
my
partner,
eyes
wife,
fucked up. I don't know why.
who called the CHP. There's another video we wanted to show you. That's where something was seen being thrown out of the window there of the car. We still don't know what it is or whether or not the CHP later went out to see what that was.
Look at him
there
down
it is
here.
once again. It looks like a little shiny object that makes it all
I
the way
kinda
there
wanna
to
switch,
the,
but, like, the timing is
center
off.
divider. But anyways, apparently the CHP knows
I think
who
they're
this person
ahead
is.
or
They know who
behind
the
on
owner
Fox, I'm not
registered,
sure.
the registered owner of this car is. They
Are
know he
these
has a
people, like,
violent
fucking with him
history
or what?
And that he has a long criminal history. So that's as far as we know, right? CHP knows a little more.
Yeah.
They've talked to his wife, and it's game on here. It continues here.
And it's been interesting to see how the window comes down, then the window goes back up. I don't know if it comes down when he's trying to make more aggressive lane changes so he can get a better look out at the cars that are in there, but it's
Never
been
give
very
up. All right,
interesting
I
to
won't.
see what he's been doing here. We also saw him holding something. It might have been a drink, might have
Riku,
been something
what's
else.
up?
But when we have been able to
police
see
are back
into the
there.
car, he doesn't seem as agitated or moving as much as a lot of times we'll see a driver who's involved in a chase. And this one has been a little bit more calm. But again, initially this call was a suspected DUI, but this driver's been able to handle this Mercedes quite well.
Right. Yeah. And you know what's interesting
what's he
too
pulling
is
now?
the
What's that?
Sorry, it looked like he was moving around a little bit in there.
He is.
A lot of times when we see people that are driving 30s, 40s, 50 miles an hour that all of a sudden gun it and go up to 100, it's usually
Illegal
a reaction to
yeah,
a law
always,
enforcement
man.
move. What's been interesting this, aside from the pit maneuver, but what's been interesting from this is, oh, hang on, they're on the phone with his daughter now.
What?
Oh, wow.
He wants to, the daughter is telling CHP that he wants to give up but is afraid.
Oh.
So
Okay.
they're having a dialogue with his daughter, who sounds like is having a dialogue with the driver. They're saying, pull over. We're going to give you this location about where you can pull over, and we'll make contact with you from there. So, again, it looks like, what's he got, Des? Can you tell the bag?
It looked like a shirt
A
or something
bag
to
or a
me.
paper towel, or there's been a lot of movement from this suspect.
Or a towel,
fidgeting
yeah.
around. He
Pull
grabbed
over.
that from the floor compartment of the passenger side and holding something in his hand right now.
Everybody on
Just
YouTube, hit the
seeing
thumbs
seems
up.
like a lot of distraction from this guy, looking around, kind of looking down at the wheel, looking almost everywhere
Why
but the
doesn't
road.
my little thing work anymore?
So,
I need to fix that.
you know, certainly you hope this person has at least a modicum of attention to what's happening in front of them right now. So they have backed off again on the ground. I gave you that wide shot a couple of moments ago, and it was showing how they really have backed off on this one. So maybe they are trying to negotiate something here, some sort of
Yeah, okay, so
surrender,
apparently
to, you know, bring all of this to an end.
the guy is car chase have
continue to
bail.
head towards heavier,
I don't
heavier
know, man.
traffic
It's definitely
once we
going
get
to jail.
towards the East L interchange. Once we get about a mile south of the interchange, that's when we're going to start to see more heavy traffic. And so hopefully some sort of communication.
He's moving around a lot.
All the movement and
lots of fidgeting.
It's like a bag of some sort, yeah.
A backpack or something, yeah.
Trying to grab something out of,
So they think, so maybe he's talking on the, through the Bluetooth. Like this car would definitely have that, right? You wouldn't need to hold the phone to be talking. But they said that now his daughter's on the phone. She says he's scared to pull over.
And Mike, how often do we hear of drivers negotiating with the CHP to find a location to pull over? Because normally when we have these chases on TV, we know how it all ends with the suspect in cuffs at the end of a pursuit. You know, it doesn't matter how it ends, but how often do we hear about these pre-negotiated surrender spots?
Yeah, you know, not very often. I will say, and Des, tell me if you disagree, but I will say that CHP is a more cooperative agency with suspects. We have seen before with the CHP.
Bones, what's
where,
up? Yeah, we've been going at this for a while now, almost an hour.
More gingerly pull somebody out, especially if there's any kind of mental health issues or
City
things going
Star,
on
what's
like
up?
that. And CHP, based on the radio traffic that I'm listening to, seems very agreeable to this, hey, here's this spot, pull over there, and we'll talk to you kind of thing. So CHP generally will work with these people a little bit more because ultimately they just want them to pull over, right? And they'll do what they think they need to do to get that to happen. And that could be why, if this guy is saying, I'm afraid, that's certainly not a reason to run from law enforcement, but that may be why CHP is giving him a little bit more of that space to make it a little bit less intimidating and in the hopes that he'll pull over. But I can't really recall a ton of times where you've had a suspect call 911. Sorry, I was listening. Was suspect called 911? But I have heard before where family members, they'll call a family member will call.
Oh, I mean, I think I've recalled
say, hey, here's
the suspects talking to the
that.
police
now,
on the phone.
There was a situation
that's
that's
not unusual.
By the sheriff's department where the guy said he wouldn't pull over unless CHP took it over. He was afraid of sheriff's deputies, is what he was saying.
Mr. Tire is a legend. That chase was like 6 months ago or something.
Take over the pursuit, then the guy pulled over. So you do get these kind of bizarre circumstances every now and again. But family members calling in, not too uncommon.
El
but
Homer,
negotiating
what's
a spot
up?
for a
What'd you
pullover
miss?
is a little bit different.
Yeah, amazing that they even.
This guy's been on this highway driving straight the whole time, but they tried to pit him at one point. He's thrown some shit outside the car.
Case you guys covered a while back, Mike.
Yeah, and this one, of course, as we were talking
his wife
about,
called the police. Now his daughter's talking to the police.
And alerted them about this driver who
they say he's scared to pull over,
saying that there was some type of alcohol or drugs, that he was driving under the influence, and that opening the door.
What was that?
Wow,
that was very bizarre. I wonder if he just dropped something else out the door right there.
Let me go back and play it.
I'm hearing him talking a little bit. I mean, unfortunately, he was right in front of another vehicle there, so I wasn't able to capture if anything came out of the door, but very bizarre maneuver.
Yeah, next
right
his grandma's going to be talking.
About how this person's already thrown something out of the door. And the
why do you open the door?
Here they're talking about it right now on the East LA frequency.
Yeah, we don't need this guy jumping out of the car.
There may be some more units that are getting ready to get behind this guy.
He's married and got a kid, yeah.
So now a couple more units, these may be from the East LA office that are closing in, so they may be changing their tactics on this once again. I mean, we really get the whole gamut of situations with CHP, like Mike was saying, the one where there was a pickup truck, I remember, I think around Palos Verdes, where they just kind of boxed him in and talked him down and took him into custody. Someone who was suffering with mental health issues that they were very gentle with. And then other times where they pit him on the freeway and then they don't hesitate to get the pepper paws and the canine out. So you really never know what you're going to get.
You never know.
CHP just kind of, depending on the circumstance. So it's kind of been this on again, off again. Will they pursue
mental illness? Yeah, I mean,
they backed off. They were in it again.
Almost
Off,
definitely.
and now we've got units behind them once again. This time, one of the cruisers, not the SUV.
Most of the time, people aren't like
any good news here. We're losing
crazy drunk. They're just like having a. They're gonna replay this now. Yo, don't do this.
Is this the pit maneuver again? That
yeah.
we're
Okay, we're done with this.
Yeah, this is the
done
playback. Okay.
You can't
there it is, that pit maneuver. This is where the CHP, we're basically about to end this.
You're going to show a replay and just take the whole screen over?
But as you saw there, the driver of that Mercedes was able to...
the pursuit position would be in the rear because
we got retired LASD Jim.
A situation where if there's weapons involved, where you have a crossfire situation, you see the door opening, so not certain why this suspect is acting in the manner that he is, but his behaviors are certainly of concern. with his disregard for the public's safety and some strange, what I would call erratic behavior. But Highway Patrol, the other factor is watch commanders receive
now their
information
stream
that
is
they'll,
fucking up.
relay to the responding officers.
The other one that I hated
is
the same stream, I think.
But we can see
but theirs isn't fucking up.
They're backing off, and it appears
no way.
to
Now
to
they're.
get him to attempt.
This might not be the same helicopter.
Stop fleeing.
It's hard to
law
tell.
enforcement. And then at some point in time was.
I actually like the other one much better, but I can't deal with them doing that shit. If you're gonna take over the whole screen.
Let me just make it clear. The big picture is video from earlier.
This was fucked up. Stop doing these replays,
dude. Extreme nav technology. This is back when they were in the county of Orange, because you're seeing northeast Anaheim on the 91. So, again, this suspect has.
All right, NBC is actually in position at this point. So we're gonna switch to that. If they start doing replays, fuck it. I don't know. But they're actually in a good spot right now. So we're gonna switch to this one.
Live full, so we're going to bring it live, and there we go. So now we're on the
Stop. Nobody talking on this one right now. Can't tell which is live. You can't tell it if they're just like taking up the whole screen, doing bullshit like that. Can't play with that. Kenny says, I've been literally clinically diagnosed with mental illness. That's a wild thing to say. The pillow lady? Man, they're not saying a damn thing on NBC.
Yeah, I mean, he chose the westbound 10 and not the eastbound side of the freeway, but there is plenty of traffic here around the downtown area, transitioning from the northbound 5 onto the westbound 10. You can see this driver trying to maneuver around the traffic, weaving in and out of lanes here and there, but for now taking it very, very slow compared to what we saw earlier, going about 25 miles per hour right now versus 120 on the westbound 91 before we caught up to it in Anaheim. But yeah, westbound 91 to the northbound 5, and now westbound on the 10 freeway. Still multiple CHP units behind it, but they have their lights off now, and they're maintaining more of a distance than what we saw earlier.
What's up, Woodward Paul? Hit the thumbs up on the YouTube. It's easy. It's free. Man, I kind of like the other ones that they're talking more. Like this lady's not giving us any context.
Busy all the time. Test 10 westbound now, just passing the Alameda Street, downtown Los Angeles. We're seeing some fidgeting inside with the driver now. It looks like trying to go behind the his driver's side seat and pick something up. The other thing is that we dealt when it comes to these suspects.
We're going back to Fox.
In terms of law enforcement always takes the approach.
NBC is not doing very good. If they had Eliana today, they'd be doing way better, man.
It just seems like there's one person.
They're missing Eliana because the coverage over there right now, the whole time, like the video's been pretty bad.
Law enforcement takes the approach that the suspect is.
She sounds nervous. Is she new? I don't think she's new, but she doesn't do this that often.
And then there's situations where, you know, family members.
We usually hear her on the weekend.
Could very well be tuning in and contacting law enforcement with information and helping navigate.
The car's fucked up on
there.
this side.
Jim, did you find that in your experience?
Yes, well, you're right on point in the sense that you're treating every suspect as if they're armed.
I don't know if that happened during this chase or if it was already like that.
New information or the responding officers from the beginning based on what prompted the pursuit itself. Oftentimes we've seen family members either in the car or calling law enforcement or the suspects themselves, trying to convince them to surrender. And so there's a lot of things that are in the works behind the scenes.
Eliana Simp, yeah, I am.
Being a strategy to deal with this situation, because
he's pissed about his car, probably.
Dangerous, even when the speeds are not high, when they'll oftentimes not have regard.
Like that wasn't from the cops' pit maneuver, right?
So unexpecting drivers,
because they got him on the
direction,
other side,
often in danger because their speed may be high.
On the back.
Oftentimes people say, well, he's not driving at a high rate of speed, but when you're an unexpecting driver and you're driving at normal speeds, this can be presented.
Where is she? I don't know where she is.
Or areas where the vehicles could come into contact, not to mention pedestrians.
Long-ass chase, queso it is.
And especially, we'll see what happens. As far as I know, this has mainly been on freeways.
1 hour. We hit 1 hour.
Surface streets, but we'll see. Either way, it does get a little bit even more precarious once they get onto surface streets. We've seen that because, of course, as Jim just brought up, there are pedestrians then walking around trying to, get to their next appointment or just out for
what do you think? 75 minutes?
You know, there's a dangerous DUI suspect coming down the street. So we'll see if this suspect decides to stay on the 10 westbound and just carry on, or perhaps go into downtown Los Angeles. So this is
the traffic is bad. Oh, we got San Pedro.
About almost 30 minutes now. This started in San Bernardino, so you can probably do the math. That's a lot of miles between San Bernardino and now downtown Los Angeles. We're on the 10 westbound. We saw this start on the 215, then went to the 91.
I guess we kind of know he was on the phone, but I didn't see the phone.
560, and
but we know he was talking on the phone,
so,
right? Because
a whole lot of freeways.
If there's been communication between him and his family.
To the side of this silver Mercedes sedan, likely from an attempted pit maneuver that CHP tried when conditions were just right on the northbound 5. It was successful in that it did spin the car around, but then soon after that, the driver was able to still maintain control and took off really at a high rate of speed after that pit maneuver. So now we just got a little more information, Jim, which is pretty interesting. Law enforcement apparently has been in contact with the suspect's daughter. What do you glean from that?
Well, the fact that he goes from driving desperately and fleeing to slowing down, it's interesting. It does sort of indicate that he's in contact with somebody and maybe engaged in a conversation who might be telling him to surrender. Again, this is conjecture. I get to do that as a retired person now, watching from TV.
It's all conjecture, man. It's all speculation.
Sort of that you're able to sort of glean from. Now suddenly he's driving in the lanes of traffic at a slow rate of speed. So I think that law enforcement is taking a strategy of backing off the vehicle, making sure that he's still covered, and but the unpredictability of suspects is essentially why they're going to need to eventually take action to bring this person into custody.
What kind of action are they going to take, man? I don't know.
It's just unpredictable.
They're going to take action when he stops.
The most dangerous thing that law enforcement deal with.
And
what is the ranking most car chase state? I don't know, man.
Law enforcement's actually lost
no way of knowing, but California definitely has the ones that are on television.
They did have contact at one point, but
I don't know.
When you bring in a daughter and you're talking about obviously that this is her father now wanted in this DUI pursuit. Then I think this started some sort of a domestic issue, which is often the case, or which can be the case, I should say.
Anna says,
absolutely.
I wish we had a commentary option that was pro-suspect. That would be fucking awesome.
And I'm certain that law enforcement is
I know, CM, you're right. This one's super long. Usually they're super short.
This suspect goes from driving slow within the lanes to speeding up randomly, and you've seen that throughout the entire pursuit. So that's certainly indicative of somebody who's unstable or under the influence, which was the initial call for.
I think he's both unstable and maybe under the influence. Definitely unstable.
To pull him over. So it could be at that level, or there could be some nuances to the case, and it would be interesting to find that out.
Florida, I'm sure there's a lot of police chases in a lot of states. They just don't get on television.
The desk who's relaying to troops on the ground know this information, and they're relaying it, and that's why there's a very specific strategy. And it's being well handled, because all of it, these types of decisions are due to the fact that that law enforcement is looking out for public safety. Now, if you had a more desperate suspect, or if he was driving with blatant disregard and burning red lights and driving on the side shoulders of road, there might be a reason for more immediate action. But it seems to be indicative of they either have a dialogue with the individual.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe these are different
maybe
helicopters.
A family member, and they're looking to convince him to
I don't
surrender.
think so. Fuck, I can't tell.
And if his driving becomes more desperate, it would seem that they might engage and do another pit maneuver when safe to do so.
As retired law enforcement, if you're in this position, does CHP, does law enforcement?
He looks stressed now. Before he looked so chill. Now he looks like he's stressing out.
Wiping his face off a couple of times there. Do you prefer? Is it better for public safety that they choose to remain on a freeway like the 10 on a busy Thursday afternoon, or is it better if they go to the surface streets, or is it just the lesser of two evils? Is there?
You know, all pursuit driving, and I know you know this, is extremely dangerous because of the desperation and the unpredictability of a suspect's behavior. But right now, if as long as he's
true. It looks like he's just suffering in the heat in there.
Not,
maybe he's trying to conserve gas, Mr. Wiggly.
Side shoulder, then
and Nathan, you're right. The Florida PD don't play, and we've seen many chases in Florida, like Miami area. Not in a long time, though.
It makes it very difficult to do a pit maneuver.
This is the police helicopter down here.
Not going anywhere, so a lot of these suspects, they're not really thinking, because they're not going to be able to escape, because you have all the resources and coordination on the radio and the airship to direct.
Yeah, this guy's not getting away,
where
man.
The suspect is, but I would say between
what's he doing now?
Surface streets can be quite dangerous because of pedestrians and cross traffic and things of that nature.
This is transitioning.
Avenue here. It looks like. Let's see what happens. Is this just one?
I think he might give up.
On and off.
No.
As we're over with this live picture from Skyfox.
Said you think the helicopter will need fuel? Yo, the police have already had like 3 different helicopters come in and out. I don't know about the news people.
That is the vehicle? Okay. I don't know why it looked different from this
vantage
point.
It.
Pardon me. And I apologize to the viewers there. It just took me off guard for a second. Okay, so we do have, we're maintaining, he is maintaining, and I could say the suspect is a he. There's a man behind the wheel. 10 westbound and Jefferson Park there off to the
and what's up, Mr. Tekin?
Right and left. So,
or Tykin, I still don't know.
For people who may be just jumping on the air with us, this is a
I did miss Booty. You're right. I did miss the pit move one. I don't know about the phone because we didn't see the phone. I never saw a phone.
There is just the driver
but
inside.
I mean, we know he was on the phone,
this
right?
Started in San Bernardino.
So I don't know.
We are in Los Angeles.
But you're right. I missed the pit move.
And we do know that, and this happened earlier. This was a pit maneuver that was attempted by CHP, and they did a great job in that. It spun the vehicle around, but the Mercedes has a lot of power, and it just kept on going, and so he was able to take off and evade authorities there.
He's getting off. He's getting off. Stop showing this. Stop showing this.
The pursuit
Stop showing this.
On the smaller box.
Stop showing this.
Picture,
fuck. All right.
As we're just showing you that pit from
so
earlier.
Mad right now.
And now
Stop.
We are getting off the freeway.
All right, here we go.
I just asked retired LASD Jim Helmold is on the line with me, whether or not it's best to stay on surface streets or on the freeway in terms of public safety.
You think he's going home now or something? Like, is there a destination now?
It's very dangerous no matter what. That was the answer. We're now on Crenshaw
Demetria,
Boulevard,
it's been going on for over an hour.
In Mid-City. We know that this can get very congested, Jim, and we're picking up speeds.
So mad right now, dude. I hate the replays.
Now, given all the risk to all the pedestrians.
I think there might be a plan here.
Unfold live on the air.
Yeah, and that's the part that brings great concern, because now you have.
The thing is, the other news station is ahead, so I was looking at it, seeing that he was getting off the freeway, and they just kept showing a replay. I was like,
you may see another pit maneuver attempt. But again, certainly not where there's pedestrians walking around in areas for cross traffic.
Something's going to happen here.
He also demonstrated a desperation level to try to drive out of those pit maneuvers. So he certainly, it appears he may have some experience in driving. And
okay.
You know, this might be of concern also.
This might be it.
This is interesting. We're coming to a stop. We're coming to a stop, and now we're making, and I don't mean to cut you off, but just want to bring everyone's attention to this is different behavior. Driving very slowly.
How did this one start? So it started, oh, he's
now
done.
We're in a parking lot. We've seen this before.
This is
very dangerous because tight spaces. Now looks like we're pulling over.
He's getting out.
Are we going to have a surrender? That could very well. Yeah, it looks like it. Here we go. So
he's getting out like, yo, what's up?
Lot. He's just kind of waving
I'm done.
them off.
That's it.
Sort of nonchalantly, he throws his keys, it looks like, perhaps on the ground. Usually they ask you to turn around and put your hands up. There's obviously some words being exchanged.
Maybe he was low on gas.
Guns drawn, hands up. We've seen this.
But all right, everyone,
before.
I'm not signing off or
You'll ask them
anything.
to turn
We're going to see how
around,
this ends.
Usually walk backward, and then they'll soon enough be in handcuffs, and then they'll go ahead and check the vehicle.
In about an hour, I'm going to be downtown Nashville. I'll be on Twitch doing IRL stream, and it's fun down there, man. There's all kinds of crazy shit going on downtown Nashville. So come over to the Twitch channel, watch me walk around down there and interact with drunk people and watch like good bands.
I'm at a disadvantage.
It did not last 75 minutes.
Live, so I don't want to interrupt what might be being seen on live.
Okay, yeah. So what we're seeing now, thank you for that, Jim. So we're seeing an officer handcuffing the suspect. I'm not sure what parking lot we're in. It looked like some sort
this
of
should count as a no. It is a no.
Shopping market, strip mall, sort of a scene down below. But this is in mid-city. Right off this is 10th Avenue and West Washington Boulevard.
Had to end eventually, man.
So we do have a suspect in custody.
Gonna grab some food. All right, I'm gonna eat some food.
This man is in custody again.
And then
for DUI.
I'll do in real life stream where I'll be walking around with my phone on a stick and I'll be talking and then we'll talk to other people and then we'll like fuck around downtown Nashville. There's some shit going on down there today, so we can check that out.
So
your years of journalism, you're getting pretty good at this. You got it down pretty good. And yeah, oftentimes a lot of those cursory checks.
Well, they got him.
Normally, when there's pursuits, it involves violent suspects.
And
so
shout out to everybody on YouTube.
That there's not anybody else also in the
60
vehicle.
something
we have
of you,
had,
I guess.
Circumstances
and
where that has occurred and it's resulted in
all of you on Twitch. There's a lot of people.
Acts of violence at the culmination of a pursuit. So that's oftentimes the most dangerous point, but.
Okay.
I do have a sense that they were able to.
If you guys want to watch the stream later,
convince him to talk, or
I understand. If you only care about the chase, I understand.
We're going to wrap things up to get to TMZ at the
same
top
name
of the hour.
on
So
Twitch
this pursuit has come to a
as it is on
peaceful
YouTube.
end. Jim Helmold, retired LASD.
We start asking drunk girls.
Today.
Yeah, I could, you know, and then we'll find the Hawk to a girl, dude. She lives here. We'll fucking find her.
Here's
come to the stream. Guaranteed we're going to find her.
And I don't mean to interrupt. We're going to wrap things up to get to TMZ at the top of the hour. So this pursuit is.
Anyway, okay. Thanks. Appreciate it. They're going to go clear the car, but we're not even going to see it. Okay, whatever. It's over. All right, guys. About an hour. Going live again. Yeah, they're checking the car. They were going to see if there's anyone else in there, but presumably there's not. So anyway, I'll be back doing shit downtown. And yeah, that's it. All right. Thanks again. Chase every day. I hope so. Hey, maybe we'll get another